Good day, fellow teachers. In this video, we will continue to talk about English literacy lessons. Now we are going to talk about how to teach structures and dialogues. The Ministry of Education and Sports has clearly identified the structures for P1 English in its thematic curriculum. Mango Tree has adopted most of these structures into its teaching model. The expectations are that by the end of P1, pupils will be able to use 30 different structures and have working vocabulary of more than 100 words. Each week, learners are introduced to different pairs of structures. Although a few of the structures are simple commands, the majority of structures come in pairs. The first is a question, and the second is the response. These structures are simple and functional in daily life. The structures are taught in three different ways: songs, isolated structure lessons using visual aids, dialogues, and role plays. Each week's lesson also includes a list of structures to revise. These are structures which we are taught in previous weeks but are used or could be used with the week's lesson. Let's look at how JB from Alede Primary School teaches structures and dialogues during his English lessons.
What is this? What is this? It is a book.
Learners are first introduced to the structure in the weekly song on Monday. Each song includes some of the vocabulary words and structures of the week. However, on Monday, there is no isolated structure activity. The English lessons are based on scaffolding. This means that on Monday, we only teach songs and vocabulary. On Tuesday, we add structure, and on Wednesday, we add dialogues. This is how we help learners move from the known to the unknown and build their knowledge one day at a time.
The songs are made in a way that most of the words which are used in the structures are already there in the song. So as they sing, they would have already mastered the structures. So when it comes to now the time to teach the structures, you'll find that it is now very simple for them and very easy now to master the structures. You just say the structure at once and you find that all the learners are responding.
On Tuesday, JB introduces the structures of the week, explaining the meaning of the pair of structures first in Leblanc.
Aha, punyu ko bu chenten lemono. Chenten wani ti ko jama menuere yot kilaji wani. Ti ko jama menuere kwene. Aha, apenya machele ko ni mango. Ti ko ni mango. Winya. Penya machele ko ni mango. Awude ka ni manubu. Wunde ka ni ko manubu. Ade ko ni machango. Aha.
The teacher models the question and the response using visual aids. This can mean the vocabulary picture cards for the week or real objects.
What is this? Winya. What is this? It is a book.
If the structure calls for actions, teachers are asked to mime the action to help learners better understand the structure. After modeling the structures, the teacher asks learners repeat the structures after him.
What is this? What is this? What is this? Aha! It is a book.
He always uses real objects or the vocabulary picture cards to support learning and help learners understand the meaning of what they are saying.
It is a chair.
In this part of the lesson, the teacher focuses only on the structures, and together the class practices asking and answering the questions using the different weekly vocabulary words.
What is this?
It is a shop.
What is that?
What is that?
It is a desk. We are going to ask questions. Boys are going to ask, girls are going to answer. Boys, can we say, what is this?
What is this?
Boys, can we say, what is this?
What is this?
Girls are going to say, it is a book.
To practice the weekly structures further, JB will divide the class into two. One group will repeat the question after the teacher, and the other group will repeat the response. The class will do this group role play activity multiple times so that each group has an opportunity to practice both the question and the response. On Wednesday, the teacher reviews the structures. Again, he divides the class into two groups. First, he asks learners to repeat after him.
Boys are going to say, what is this?
What is this?
It is a book.
It is a book.
Then the class says the question and response together, and finally, the two groups do the activity alone without the teacher, using the vocabulary word he shows them.
It is a book. What is that?
Boys,
This is an example of the I do, we do, you do teaching method. First the teacher models, then the class does the activity together, and finally the learners do the activity alone. Next, JB asks learners form pairs to practice the structures. One learner asks the question and the other responds. Then they switch roles. Learners point to the picture cards in their primers to identify the vocabulary words. Finally, the teacher invites pairs of learners to role play the structures in front of the class.
What is this? It is a blackboard. What is this? It is a desk.
It is important to use all those different varieties to teach the structures, because with learners, when you want to introduce something, you don't do it at once. When you introduce during the song, you will find that some learners may pick it. So when it comes to now the dialogue, now half of them now will already pick it. Then when it moves to structures itself, they will all move. So it's good to use all different varieties to teach the structures in order to make all the learners master the structures. Komani, chawane, wano bilumete, konen gongina meo lue lemone dialogue. Gina mo lue ningo? Dialogue pero le you look.
After practicing structures, the teacher introduces the weekly dialogue. JB tells his class that this is a dialogue about the big picture in the primer and gives a general explanation of the content.
Mr. Moses. Mr. Moses.
The dialogues in the P1 English lessons are based on daily life and use common English structures and vocabulary words identified for the sub-theme of the week.
What is this? It is a book.
Each dialogue has 4 lines.
Is this?
What is this?
It is a book.
It is a book.
What is that?
What is that?
It is a chair.
It is a chair.
Notice that when JB reads the dialogue, he teaches it first as all language, reading all 4 lines. Also notice that the way he changes his voice and body positions to show that 2 different characters are speaking. The dialogues taught use a top-down all-language approach. where the entire dialogue is taught at once, and a bottom-up approach where the dialogue is also taught one line at a time.
What is that?
What is that?
Dialogues are also taught using a repetitive repeat after me method. This allows learners to not only learn the structures and vocabulary in the dialogue, but also to pay attention to their teacher's pronunciation and copy it. On Thursday, the teacher revises the structures and dialogue. While revising the structures, JB shows different picture cards and asks learners to say the structure using the vocabulary words he has shown them.
Aha.
What is this? It is
JB again invites pairs to role play the structures in front of the class. He invites different children each time. This is important for continuous assessment. Notice the way that he helps struggling learners by taking a step back to the repeat after me teaching method.
A book. Gamgong.
Revising the dialogue follows the same steps as revising the structures. First, the teacher models the dialogue, then the learners repeat the dialogue after the teacher, line by line. Next, the teacher splits the class into two and asks one half of the class act as one character and the other half act as the other.
What is that?
Boys, it is a chair. What is this?
What is this?
Boys, it is a book.
It is a book.
Finally, the learners form pairs and practice the dialogue with their partner.
Changwapun.
What is this?
Then the teacher invites some learners to the front to present the role play to their classmates.
What is this? It is a book.
Notice that while the learners are presenting dialogues, JB is assessing them and recording their performance on the CAM form.
Yeah, it builds the confidence in learners, and as the other ones are remaining down there, they will keep listening. They say that, oh, after those ones, the teacher may call me. So they will now be very curious. They want to know what those ones are role playing. So the role play is assisting us very much in teaching the structure.
Friday is assessment day. Every week there are 2 structure-based assessment activities. These are listed in the teacher's guide. Teacher observes learners performing the activities and marks assessment on the CAM form. Now, let's point out the learner competences related to the English structures. Pupils will be able to repeat the structures after the teacher. Repeat the dialogues after the teacher. Use the structures to talk about the weekly vocabulary. Ask and answer the questions using learned structures. Role play and act out the dialogues and structures. Think about the structure activities you observed. Can you identify the points in the lessons when the teacher was able to assess individual pupils' competences? I will ask the facilitator to pause this video now while you discuss it as a group. Did you identify the parts of the lesson where the teacher did assess individual pupils' performance in the following competences? Let's review them together.
It is
Repeating
a
the
book.
structures after the teacher. Repeating the dialogues after the teacher. Using the structures to talk about the weekly vocabulary. Asking and answering the questions using learned structures. Role-playing and acting out the structures and dialogue. Don't forget to revise the structures from previous weeks. The more often you practice them, the faster your pupils will memorize them, understand them, and use them. Good luck with your English literacy lessons.